Going into the 1920s, many people believed banning alcohol would make America more peaceful. They were wrong. Violent murders, widespread corruption, and the dawn of organized crime defined the decade and beyond. In the years leading up to the 1920s, anti-alcohol activists such as Carrie Nation had been hard at work building a case against the demon drink. And they had some legitimate arguments. Prohibitionist women advocated for temperance as a means of combating their abusive, alcoholic husbands. Industrialists got behind the movement because they thought alcohol was limiting the potential output of their average worker. But temperance was also used by racist organizations as an outlet for their xenophobic views against the millions of European immigrants coming to the United States. The Germans and Irish in particular were scorned for their alleged drunkenness. Whatever their reasons, 46 states ultimately ratified the 18th Amendment, with only Connecticut and Rhode Island dissenting. Prohibition officially took effect at the very start of the decade, enforced by the language of the Volstead Act, named for House Judiciary Chairman Andrew Volstead. Within a year, Americans' alcohol consumption had already dropped to historic lows, but the drop was temporary. Americans didn't stop drinking. The 18th Amendment allowed for some loopholes: fermenting grapes at home, prescriptions from doctors, and religious exemptions. A lot of people found God. But the eradication of a corporate structure for alcohol production and distribution left a huge opportunity for a large-scale, organized, and insanely profitable black market. Existing small-time street gangs took advantage, quickly evolving into vast, bootlegging criminal enterprises. They employed everyone from warehouse workers to truck drivers to accountants. Gang leaders would bribe politicians, cops, even the prohibition agents themselves, nicknamed Prohis, to ensure their businesses ran smoothly. Some relied on rum running, illegally importing liquor from other countries and storing it in warehouses across the U.S. Sometimes they would simply distill liquor in private homes. Other gangsters bought abandoned breweries and operated them in secret. They worked in the shadows, but one part of the business was very public: the violence. Gangs fought for territory in the streets of major U.S. cities. Chicago was especially violent. 729 people were killed by gangs in Cook County alone during Prohibition. The most famous of these incidents was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre in 1929. Men working for Al Capone, dressed as policemen, gunned down 7 rival members of Bugs Moran's gang against the wall of a parking garage. No one was ever charged for the crime. Realizing cooperation could lead to greater profits, many gangs agreed to treaties that allowed them to operate peacefully in their respective territories. Johnny Torrio attempted to organize the gangs in Chicago, with Al Capone as his right-hand man. When Torrio retired to Italy and handed the reins to his protege, Capone inherited a business pulling in more than $1 billion a year in today's terms. Charles Lucky Luciano organized the Italian and Jewish gangs in New York under Joe the Boss Masseria, before Luciano had Masseria killed in 1931 and had his successor Salvatore Maranzano killed the same year. Luciano went on to found the Commission, a national crime syndicate composed of New York's 5 mafia families and the controlling families in Chicago and Buffalo. Prohibition ended with the ratification of the 21st Amendment in 1933, but the mafia kept rolling along. These crime families had already entered the worlds of loan sharking, prostitution, and illegal gambling, just to name a few, and continued to grow throughout the country on the backs of their profits from Prohibition.
You must have in your mind some things you've done that you can speak of to your credit as American citizen. If so, what are they?
Paid by tax.